We need to up our game and shit. We need to do comedy butt naked, right?
Saying his goodbyes. He blew his eye socket off and his eyeball fell out.
White women keep kidnapping us. Y'all seen The Blind Side?
Aren't you glad we have that disclaimer at the beginning of the episode?
It's going to come in handy for this episode.
This week's episode of The Voice Party is brought to you by Big Boy Wraps. Get your car wrapped by some of the most experienced and skilled in the Bay. Big Boy Wraps, where the big boys play.
Welcome, everybody, back to another episode of the Voice Party Podcast. It's me, JD, here with the new board.
No, it's Phil with the new board.
Make some sound effect. Make some sound effect. I'm here sitting next to Marcos.
What's up, man?
From Tomorrow's June.
No one gives a fuck about Tomorrow's June right now.
How you doing, bro?
I'm spectacular.
Did you get a good night's sleep?
I did.
What do you sleep on? A futon?
No, I sleep on a queen size bed.
Yeah, I missed your cue.
Oh.
I ain't never had a bed before.
And we got a very special guest here today. Give it up for Corday, everybody.
What's up, everybody? How you doing? Oh, my bad.
We're back here once again.
I'm not gonna lie, I'm mad with Power having these sound.
I know. Sorry. And also we got Phil. Yeah, we got Phil working the ones and twos. What's up, Phil?
What's cracking, everybody? Making podcasts great
Real quick,
again.
JD, who's that?
Black Joaquin.
Okay, you didn't introduce
You
him.
did not introduce him. You just
asked him if he had a bed.
Oh,
You're
that's true.
terrible at this.
Give it up for Black Joaquin one more time.
Doesn't feel right.
It doesn't feel right.
Doesn't feel right.
Should we do it over again?
Let's do it again.
All right. Scrap all that.
No.
No, don't scrap it. Just do it again.
Just do Joaquin's again.
Give it up for Black Joaquin.
Hey.
Now the applause.
Now the bed. That's what I was saying. Didn't feel right.
I ain't never had a bed before.
Because you was like, he went, brr, 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 brr. I was like, nah, he ain't never had a bed. That seemed like
This is just the episode where we test the board.
Yeah,
no, you know what? Play that bed one again. This is my favorite part about the whole thing.
I ain't never had a bed before.
That little laugh of Corday.
Yeah, that's me. Yeah, because I set it up.
You
perfectly.
brought an inner child out for that moment, bro.
it. It's one of my favorite scenes. I don't know why. I was so scared when I first said that. I was like, fuck, is that racist? And then
Perfect segue, my
Perfect
friend.
segue. Set Corday.
Speaking of racist people.
Speaking of racism, Corday.
Yes.
I hate that we can't hear you, though.
Yeah, because my mic comes in after the mixer. I could run into the mixer,
just do this.
but then
It's
we're
cool.
out. We're down one
We just
input,
do
so if
this.
we have two guests, it's fine.
Okay.
It's fine.
Okay,
Anyway.
the people can hear you.
Yeah, the people can hear.
Today's episode on how fast does it take to piss off Corday.
Jeez.
Yeah.
No.
So, Corday, you agree that black people can't be racist, right?
Yes.
Damn, that was
How do you
quick.
feel about that, Phil?
How do you feel about that?
That's how you instigate you.
Yeah, white man. How do you feel about that? huh?
No. He's asking a question.
Okay. Do you think it's racist for a white person to sing a song written by a black person? Or a black person to sing a song written by a white person?
Are we trying to get in specifics? Or what when we singing this song, are there certain words that are not supposed to be saying in this white person not supposed to be saying certain stuff in this song, in this black person song?
That's a good point.
Okay,
Let's change it up.
Here's why I'm bringing this up.
Okay.
In my news, apparently there's a Back to the Future musical. We talked about this before you got here.
Okay.
Apparently they made a Back to the Future musical.
Okay, I think I heard about this.
The clickbait article that showed up in my feed was just like, Back to the Future musical omits sensitive issues or problematic issues from the original film. And I'm like, problematic? It's Back to the Future. The fuck is so problematic about Back to the Future? Right? Other than like his mom having the hots for him. Right?
That was hilarious. And his mom was fine in that movie.
So apparently the Back to the Future musical omits the Johnny Be Good scene because they said it's racist for a white guy, Marty McFly, to sing a song, Johnny Be Good, written by a black
you want to
artist.
shout?
No.
Clap my hands in, shout. Clap my hands in, shout.
But they cut that scene out because they said it's racist. It's cultural appropriation for a white character to sing a song written by a black character.
That's weird.
That's
weird.
That's too
weird.
far.
That's weird.
That's too far.
That's not really.
Wait. Our microphone's super hot right now.
I can turn you guys
Me
down.
and JD.
I don't agree with that from that standpoint.
I think I'm okay.
Also, from the standpoint too, he was saying like, he's like, hey, let's listen to this next song and like you guys are gonna love this one. And he's basically singing a song from the future that is his favorite song.
Right.
Is there any cussing in it? He's not saying the N word. He's not being derogatory. So it's not cultural appropriation unless it's okay. Well, I can see how you can kind of make it towards like it's this new guy with this new hit song, and then he's like, he's like, yo, you listen to him, and like he's playing
if he gets famous going back in the future from that song,
and then that's why he kind of messed up. But then let's fast forward to let's make it equal or not equal, but let's just talk about it. Hot Tub Time Machine, number 2, when Craig Robinson's character, he was like, I just wrote that song that we heard from way back when. He was like, you say I don't even know the song, but it was just funny. He was so it's like the same thing, but it's because you're going back from the future and stuff like that. So you're just singing a song that you know is popular in your day. Also, the fact that his favorite song is a black person song was usually happening. Like kids love black people songs.
Yeah, like the article I was reading was saying that like, and Joaquin brought this up earlier before you got here, is that it's cultural appropriation and that in the narrative of the film, he's coming up with this song, and then Chuck's cousin Marvin's like, Chuck, you got to hear this. Yeah. And so in the narrative of the film, they're taking a song written by a black person and making it seem like a white person created it, and then a black person ripped them off.
It just went out. Everything just went out.
No, it didn't. Your headphones.
Mine just went out. Okay.
It's important because like this is what people started noticing. Like I'm glad we brought this up because people starting to tell me whenever I'm at shows or whatever that how diverse the fucking show is. You know, white guy on the writer side, you know, poet, black comics, you know, LGBTQ, Mexican. Yeah. So, and I feel like we talk about it, but we never had a chance to talk about it within us.
Well, so the idea of the fact that he said this song and then it's saying like it's super dope, you can look at it to see is it racist, but it's not racism from the standpoint of, because you got to think back in the day when well, like people like Little Richard and like Elvis stole like most of his stuff, like from they say he stole from black people, like it's, and things like that. So the reason why it's cultural appropriation is because why it's cultural appropriation is because like if a black person is doing it or if this culture is doing it, like if this is what we normally do, but to say like this white person is taking it and say, oh, it looks so much better. Like when black women have like braids in their hair, like, oh, like they should take those out, you shouldn't be doing it. But then if Kim Kardashian has braids, like, oh my God, you look so elegant, you look so beautiful, look at this new style that Kim Kardashian has invented. We're like, no, this is a culture that's been here forever.
Wearing Jordans in restaurants, like you seen that video of that dude, white dude inside the restaurant has Jordans shorts, and he's allowed in, and there's literally a guy, it's like in the South, black dude with the same shorts and Jordan, and he's like, you can't, that's not dress.
You can't, that's not
he's
dress
like,
code.
But like that guy's got the same,
it's like it's a lot of that stuff. It's kind of like, oh, it's okay for him, but it's not okay for you type of thing. You know, like I remember like going to clubs, like I remember they associate with a person of color, or like many black people. Like I remember when dreads was a thing, like growing up in the hyphy movie, like going to clubs, they would purposely not allow dudes in with dreads. They would make up something like, oh, do you have another form of government ID? Like, so I remember me and my homie start carrying like 2 forms of IDs. We had a driver's license and our personal ID, just in case the security tried to come up with some dumb shit, just so we wouldn't be allowed in. And it was just they were trying to kick out, not have too many black people, not to have like the crowd super black, or not, they were checking people who might cause an issue based on this this thing about them that they have, like having dreads, you know, because or like that's why they have dress codes sometimes, because you know they don't want like people wearing hoodies or like they associate gang affiliated stuff, like you can't wear baseball caps because, you know, like New York hats meant north, San Francisco hats meant south side and things like that, since C's only meant central and things like that. So they were trying to keep it not have that kind of stuff. But then sometimes a white person walk in with it and like, no, it's okay, because they assume that this person isn't going to create drama or create friction. That's just like a pre-prejudice, and it also digs into racism as well. Like, oh, well, if you have this kind of stuff, then you might cause an issue, but this white person doesn't.
That's true.
Okay. Yeah, I think going to the Back to the Future thing, I think people are looking for things that aren't there, because if you watch the film, like, it's clearly not like racially motivated while he's singing. It's a badass song.
It's a dope ass song.
Just like Thriller's a badass song. Just like Real Thing is a badass song. Just like all these songs by black artists for 100 years are badass. And so I just think there's this trend now and this motivation now of people to find things to get upset about because it validates them if they have a cause to fight for. And so people look for things that they can stand on a soapbox and preach about because it makes them, I guess, feel validated. How do you feel? You agree? Disagree?
I think what it is that because when you come like the woke mob, you try like woke people thing, it was a lot of things was happening in the past that wasn't said and wasn't being done before. So now they're trying to make up from that standpoint as well. But then sometimes people are trying to be extra cautious and not get canceled from a standpoint, or they're trying to cut this out or trying to cut this out or whatever, or there's a cultural appropriation, and then sometimes I'll say, I'll be honest, sometimes white people always think that something is this, like where they're trying to be like this is like racist, but they haven't had like someone of that culture like to like, is this racist? Be like, nah, it's not. Or
like you're getting mad on someone else's behalf,
or on someone else's behalf, or sometimes on people on the other side. Well, this was something that happened that was racist, but I'll get someone from that culture to say it wasn't. And they'd be like, see, I told you it wasn't racist, but even though they've been doing racist stuff from this standpoint. So it happens on both sides of the table. And it just, what it really is just sometimes you need like a good infrastructure of people at the top. Like, okay, is this bad? Like, you didn't have to remove this, or like, remember when Mulan, they removed a lot of the songs and stuff like that from the movie Mulan, the live action version, because people, I'm not sure where it come, but people in Asia was upset about the Disney version of that. Like we here loved it, but then over there, because that's one of the top box office places.
No Mushu.
No Mushu. They hated a lot of the stuff that we liked in the movie Mulan, so they took that away and ended up not being as good. But then it pleased the people who it's supposed to be around, if it's centered, if it pleases them, then that's what it counts.
You're doing what a lot of people are doing in entertainment now, man.
What do you mean?
You're turning the hate over to China.
I don't know what you mean.
Real quick.
You know what I'm talking about?
The only thing I hate about China that they was doing is that the fact that they kept those badass Transformer movies going, because it was always do well over there, because they would make like 300 million or like 100 million or 200 million in a weekend over there, and we kept seeing trash ass Michael Bay Transformer movies, which I hated.
Okay. Now, reflecting one more time to the Back to Future scene, I've realized that maybe what's missing is context as far as to what the writer was getting at. So here's another way to look at that scene. You look at the time period in where he goes back in time to. We're looking at like the early days of Elvis, right?
Yep.
Elvis, we know, essentially took songs that had already been recorded and written by African Americans and sung that and made that like the debut to the rest of the world, because radio at one point was rather segregated, officially. And he took those records and like made it okay to like them down south, because at that point they were against, white kids listening to black music, et cetera, et cetera. Now, this could be viewed as sort of a flip around of that, where it's as the gag is, this time this white guy comes and just sort of creates a time loop this way. Yeah. But I, that could have been where the writer was coming from as well. The assumption that you as the viewer would know that this is a play on the whole Elvis thing, like it's a reverse comedic effect.
Yeah.
Right. So bearing that in mind, I think that's awesome. I think that's an awesome reason to write that scene. And I think if you really don't know what an author's intent is unless you ask the author. So I would say let's ask the scriptwriter if they're still around, And
then if you see the movie or the biopic of Little Richard, I think even Ray Charles, they had, I think, and even like a few other like black artists literally was having their music stolen and re-recorded by a white person, because the way that they sang it and the way that they because they see black people aren't smart, they're not pronouncing their entire words, and we don't like our white kids, or we don't want to listen to this black folks music, so we'd rather hear it from a white person singing it and saying and that kind of thing. And so they would literally have the lyrics re-recorded by some white guy, and then literally put it on white radios so they can consume it in that kind of way. And then that's definitely racism there.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I'd say that's definitely different than like what was going on there, because I feel like if your answer is you shouldn't be able to appreciate art created by someone a different color than you, then I don't understand how you justify that, because to me that sounds like more racism, and I don't understand how more racism is the answer to anything.
That video, there's a video, it's a comedy video, like a bit where it's two guys and one guy's like super far left and the other guy's got a shirt that says racist, right? And it's like the two extremes of both sides, and basically it's like they think like to the super extreme left, it's like things need to be like black people should only shop at black businesses, right? And then the racist like, yeah, see, finally something we agree upon, stuff like that. Yeah. And you're like, I think you're seeing when you get too politically correct, it all becomes in a circle. So the racist people, right? Because there's moderates. We're on this side of Democrat, this side of Republican, whatever. Once you get too extreme, you're at the same point of the circle, and it's like it's a real thing where they're saying the same fucking thing,
right, but their reasoning is different.
Yeah,
the left winger says
the left
winger says the black businesses aren't getting enough support, so you know what I mean. Like they should that business should be supported, and their solution is they should only shop black.
Yeah,
but like. You know, the right winger is saying that, but his reasoning is they should only do that because I don't want them buying from me at all anyway.
Right.
They don't care if that business succeeds.
Yeah.
So
the mentality's different.
It is, but when you start saying the same thing, it sounds the same.
Yeah.
That's the problem, right?
Yeah.
It support black-owned businesses, and I don't want them to shop here. It's two different things, but it
kind of creates the same.
But it creates the same kind of things. But like, well, the Republicans want black businesses to succeed. Like, no, he doesn't want you here in his shop.
Yeah.
Versus like, I started my own black clothing line because it could be like this, because the people who run clothing lines don't see me as having or creating something that could be successful when it comes to the highly market as a clientele. So why do I need you when I'm already bringing in a ton of black people to my clothing lines? Why should I give you something? I already have that kind of a thing. But like, yeah, if you have a black artist, you do even more. It's like, nah, I don't even need you. I'm good already.
That's like what you just said about Homeboy saying that he didn't want a black audience, black crowds. He didn't want to perform for black crowds. What's his name? You just mentioned this.
Bert Kreischer?
Yeah. He said that on the air?
Well, so he was on his podcast, him and Gary Owen, because they was having a conversation, because this is when Gary Owen started going around and doing.
And I'm not accusing him. I'm just saying, like, yeah.
No, what the purpose of what he was saying, because Gary, they was arguing, or not arguing, they was just talking about how like Gary Owen has a very black fan base, and a lot of other white comedians didn't understand like, how do you get like such a black fan base? Like, aren't black fan bases like tough? It's like those rooms are. And then Bert Kreischer was he's like, well, first he's like, most people are mad because, or like how sometimes black comedians don't want to only do black rooms, they want to go over to like, they want to cross over and stuff. But he was saying, he was like, you're just saying that, he's like, because he's like, well, or why white comedians are afraid to do black rooms. He's like, well, because they're not good rooms, and like they're not good crowds. Like black people aren't, the shows aren't good. It was like, and then Gary was like, no, that's not actually true. He's like, have you done a lot of black shows? He's like, I want to hear something like that. And because Gary Owen's somebody who has a loyal black fan base, and he was saying, he was like, I have white fans and I have black fans.
And he gets accused of appropriating too, the way he talks and shit.
The way he talks, yeah.
Yeah, but then also always constantly talking about like black people, like this, like white, I'm white this and I'm in a black space this. But he talked about it from the standpoint of like, I have a black wife and I have half black kids. I have mixed kids. Right. So he talked about it from that kind of standpoint. But then he's like, you don't choose your audience. You do the comedy, and then that's who gravitates toward it, because he sells out in a bunch of black arenas. Brett, on the other hand, was saying that the reason why I don't have black fans is because, or like I don't do black rooms, he's like, because they're bad audiences. And then Gary Owen was,
where it's fucked
yeah.
up.
I was going to say, this is, you and me have actually talked about this before.
Yeah.
And it's about where you relate, because comedy, unlike music or anything, you can kind of tackle a little bit of everything with like subtleness. Comedy is so personal, and you relate to somebody. First off, I think when you hear someone's joke, like the way they're telling it, right? Yeah. Presented. So if you're watching someone on stage that looks like you, that talks like you, that you relate to instantly, you're like, oh, that's my guy.
Yeah.
And then let's say you're a totally white dude from the suburbs, and you're gonna go see a room full of black comedians that are from the hood. Yeah. You're gonna be like, I didn't think any of this was funny. I don't, you know what I mean?
Who
Like,
you relate to.
who you relate to, right?
That's why hella
And so-
Filipinos go see Joe Coy.
Joe Coy,
You know,
and you can't be mad at that either. I
could push back on that because a lot of times, right, I'll say like black audiences and black people, especially from the hood and things like that, we always have to try to relate to white movies, white shows, white comedy and stuff like that. So we always have to,
which is why Jordan Peele movies are blowing up.
Yeah.
Because
Right.
you know, like, yeah.
so it's like we always, you always hear from white audience like I can't relate to, I don't, like, I'm not from the hood, or I'm not, but then like a good black comedian, he was like he be like white people talking about they ain't from the hood, that's because they live in a trailer park, like, because y'all in this area, like,
right.
you live in this one. I was like, but you know what the trailer park is next to? The hood.
Yeah.
It ain't the suburbs, you know?
Right.
So so a lot of black comedians make that correlation to, he was like, white people, y'all think y'all better than us? Y'all ain't. Especially the people who are living around the same, like slumming like the rest, like, I'm in the ghetto, you in a trailer park. What's different? Nothing. It's like, but you see yourself I'm not you. I'm like in the suburbs type of thing. But it's like, that's like a whole different thing. So you try to ground it to where,
And that's really the class. That's really the division is in classes.
Yeah.
Where, like, you know, that's kind of really where it is, man.
Yeah.
Like, if you think of we can go, all of us right now, we go see name a black comedian off the top of your head.
Ali Sadiq.
Ali Sadiq. We could all go, all of us in this
You
group.
showed me him. Yeah.
All of us in this group would go, and we'll laugh.
Yeah.
We can go. Same group,
Cat
us.
Williams.
Oh no, I'm saying, whatever.
I would say,
but then we'll go see
Cat Williams.
George Lopez. We might all laugh at something.
Yeah.
But then we'll go see Ellen now.
Yeah.
We won't relate to that shit.
And then that's another thing that happens is like
Because, you know, that's-
male, woman, and then male say like,
No, but I'm saying class because she's like
Super rich.
and
yeah.
her. Have you seen her special?
Yeah.
Relatable. That was the
it's like you can't be relatable.
Rich people's problems. Like, she's up there.
Yeah.
That's where, like, the division really is.
Yeah.
We just kind of focus on. I mean, I know the race is a problem too, but that's kind of where the division is now with people.
It's a class level where you can like separate from
Hella.
and then you could be talking about like I remember Gary Owen, like, cause I always listen to this podcast, I always like learn a lot of tidbits from him. Like, he said Chad Johnson tried comedy for a little bit. He was like, you know, like, he's like,
Ocho Cinco?
Yeah, Ocho Cinco. He's like, you ever like have a Ferrari and then like you crash and you got to replace like a tire? He's like, oh, y'all can't relate to that. So he was like joking about how rich he is.
Yeah.
Versus like a person who's super rich but trying to like relate to you, and it's like we don't experience the same struggles. And then
Seinfeld's another example.
yeah,
of that.
I was gonna say Seinfeld, because sometimes like when you're rich and you're successful and all this kind of stuff, you're out of touch, but you're trying to say, no, I'm relatable, and it's like, are you though?
Yeah.
Like, do you know the same? And it's like, do you have that same hunger?
I feel like that's when you have to kind of become more of a personal storyteller.
Exactly.
As a comedian, that's where you have to, like, because like Bert Kreischer in that sense too, like. Or actually, sorry, I'll say Theo Von, right?
Yeah.
Like, his stories, whether you think they're made up or not,
Yeah.
I have
The hood.
I have
hood.
my conspiracies, but his trailer park hood growing up, like, those are funny because people have experienced that. You know what I mean? And I don't know where he's at financially in the world.
He's doing good.
But he is very much that kind of person that's like he still feels like that country boy kind of that.
He has a thick country accent. He has like the mullet, and black people love him because it reminds them of like you know, like old Jebediah from like, or something like that.
Yeah.
Some country dude who you probably grew up with, because a lot of black people are from the South.
He says, bruh, hella.
No people from the South, bruh.
Right.
So you use a lot of our same language.
He's that one white kid in the hood.
He's the one white kid, or the one white kid that you grew up with who
He's there,
been a
Phil.
trainer.
He's there,
Right.
Phil.
Nah.
Phil was a white guy in the hood. You were.
Yeah, no, I was born in Oakland, raised in Richmond. You know.
What part of Richmond?
Don't pull that shit. You know, everywhere got tagged. Everywhere had a color at one point.
Not Point Richmond.
I was gonna say 26.
You know damn well it
30
wasn't
seconds,
Point.
You know, none of us grew up in Point Richmond.
You know damn well it
Don't
wasn't
act like
Point.
your
Funny.
side of Richmond was the only Richmond that.
You might have lived in the better side.
South side. I live in South side.
Oh, you South side?
I live in
South side was
No.
pretty peaceful back in the day compared to Central and North, yeah?
No.
Nah.
I used to go to sleep every night to gunshots.
Yeah,
and,
nah,
helicopters.
South was.
Compared to North, though?
Yeah,
Well,
there were,
North was the worst.
North was
it was
the worst.
North,
I mean.
Central, South.
Yeah.
But even then,
But the thing about it, I remember North and Central. North and Central was bad, and then Central. I mean, North and South was bad, and then Central would complain about. I was like, man, y'all ain't bad. Y'all like kind of. But yeah, like Richmond was as a whole was terrible though. So, but everybody knew like that's what it was. Like, oh, where you from? I'm from Central. Well, like, where you from? South Side. We from North. Oh, you from North? Oh
North,
shit!
yeah.
Like, like I ain't going there. Like, I'll go to Central. I'll go to South Side. But like North? Oh no, I ain't trying to die. Like, you would already assume just going there. You would die.
Is it trip how we segregate ourselves? Like the black gangs only beefing mostly with black gangs, Mexican gangs only. Like we do that. Like
proximity, man.
Yeah.
And but then
we're in the same fucking neighborhoods though. Like you know,
we look at it as a micro level. Because but then like people from Richmond, if somebody from Oakland came somewhere, then all of a sudden people in Richmond unify. But then all of a sudden you look at like
but then some from LA SoCal coming out to the Bay Area. Now Oakland and Richmond unify.
Or
Atlanta
or somebody
California.
Atlanta or somebody on the East Coast or some shit. Now we've unified. It's like we West Coast. So it happens, all those different type of things, but
and then it trickles down.
And it like, oh, I'm USA, homie, USA, homie.
Terrorist attack. It's all USA,
you know? Or oh shit, we Earthlings and fucking aliens coming and trying to destroy this shit. It's all that kind of. But I'm saying like the kind of.
What was that? What was that speech? We're not gonna go into the. Remember Independence Day?
Yeah.
Wait, have you guys heard that theory that was like I forgot who said it, but it was that Earth is the hood of all planets. That's why aliens keep leaving their trash here.
What was that? That's what
they're 50,000 years ahead of us in technology, and they're like.
I think Joe Rogan said it's the Tijuana in the universe.
No, it's somebody else. It's somebody else because it was like specifically the hood. Yeah, someone said it.
I have a beef to pick with somebody in the podcast here. Maybe not a good time to bring it up.
All right,
that's the only time.
Gaspar's not here no more, man.
No. Every time I notice this is a thing, and people have mentioned, people who listen, that every time I bring up something, and it sometimes is a fact for the most part, my wife over here, that's not true. That's not true.
Well, I have a beef.
That's the beef I got to pick with you.
That's his shtick.
You know what?
What? Say it. Go ahead. Come on, you fucking coward.
Marco,
go ahead.
Marco
come up with a fake excuse.
Screw you guys who think
Marco says the good one.
Look, I'm gonna tell you something. When every 2 seconds you could be like, man, I had to pee hella bad. Oh, did you know peeing was invented by some mobsters out in the Bay Area? And you just hear that 24 fucking 7.
The stupidest.
You don't believe a fucking word he says anymore.
That's the stupidest, shitty analogy that he came up with right now.
It's not just the Bay Area. The mob was actually everywhere.
I know. But the mob started everything. The mob started the cheeseburger.
Okay,
the mob everything.
I'm surprised
I just want to live my life, JD.
He paid a private school education for this motherfucker not to know anything to now he just doesn't believe it. He's like one of those guys that, I don't know, the earth is flat. I've never seen it in whole. Like, I've never seen it go round. Like, that's what this motherfucker sounds like.
To be fair, they don't really have, like, classes that study the mafia.
Yeah. True. Thank you.
In high school.
But
I always thought to myself, all the gangsters I know wore suits because of the mafia and stuff like that. Mm-hmm. Also, real quick, with the earth being flat, like, is it flat like this?
No, it's not flat.
No. I'm going in, like, their world, right? Like, is it flat like this? Or is it flat like this? I've always wondered that.
No, it's flat like...
Yeah, I've always wondered that, like how do you see it flat? Because like if you look at a map, it's look at it, it's like this.
Flat earthers,
or is it like this? I've always wondered that. That was the question I want to get from.
It's supposed to be horizontal, yeah. But no,
that's vertical.
Okay,
no, but I like that he does that because every once in a while, I mean,
there has been. Okay, I will tell you this.
There has been a few.
2 times I have been. My ego has been.
No, it's more than 2 in conversation. Yeah, maybe on the podcast. Yeah. But he's just like, that's not true. And then we looked it up, and like you were saying, bitch, you were saying, and then I don't get off on like I'm right, but I just whenever we were at the museum the other day, and we were talking about
the museums.
No, me and you, fool.
Oh, okay.
Which museum?
The Rosie the Riveter.
Rosie the Riveter.
And we were talking about like how
the mob started Rosie the Riveter.
No, you fucker. But we were talking about stuff right there, and then we just kind of walked, and it was like, oh, see, I told you that was true, right? Yeah. You don't remember? Yeah.
No. And it's
because I like history.
No, I get that. I get that. You know, and I appreciate that you like history. It's just
not everything's about fucking the Jonas Brothers.
First off, the Jonas Brothers were fucking great.
Fuck the Jonas Brothers, and I hope the mob gets them.
Oh my gosh! Look, everybody knows.
Don't.
It's all about All-Star Weekend, man.
All-Star Weekend, exactly, bro. This is
about them
and Midland. I saw them.
I think this is a wrong time to air out our little. I'm sorry, bro.
No.
Come back.
No, we haven't aired this much dirty laundry since we did that eulogy for Gasper.
No. This is perfect.
Fuck Gasper. I'm looking at the camera.
I do appreciate that he's a history buff of like not textbook history per se, like school history, but like
this textbook history.
No, not like school history.
Oh,
like you're like real world history of like real shit that we didn't learn in school. I do appreciate that.
You learn it in college.
Sure, but like not high school. Like I didn't go to college.
I learned some of these things I mentioned earlier. I mentioned some of the African American studies class that I took in college.
But it's just it is kind of annoying sometimes when you just have a normal conversation and every 10 minutes the mob started that.
It's not the mob though. It's not the mob.
Or it's paranormal, or that thing is haunted, or this thing and that.
Okay. You stay out of this.
That's why I step in.
And it's just kind of annoying because like I just wanted to say like,
but it's not
like,
a time.
Hey man,
Marcos is making it worse than it is.
It's just like it's cool. I just wanted a fortune cookie. It was cool that it was started in SF.
Yeah.
It's all good. I don't care that the mob beat up a white dude and then made him make the fortune cookie because they were hungry.
So
I know that's not real, but I'm just making shit up at this point. But it sounds like something he would say.
You have to do your...
And to the camera, this is what I deal with every day. So understand where I'm coming from, okay?
So, let me explain.
Marcos lives in a world where everything is very pop-like and is Disney Channel every day of his fucking life. And
I mean, to be fair, your average Joe doesn't necessarily know mafia history.
Oh, and it's not even. I like true crime. That's what it is.
Right.
Yeah, okay.
And I will say this: if you want him to stop bringing it up, you got to stop mentioning stuff that's related to the mob.
Yeah. Everything is apparently related to the mob.
Well, that's very true because the mob had a lot of
and the mob is different.
I know, but I just want to go. I just want to have a conversation without.
Because I haven't talked to the camera this entire time. So, Marcos, what you're doing is you're learning.
Talk to me.
You're hearing from. I've been talking to you this whole time. I just feels weird. I'm not talking to the camera, but I'll talk to you. Okay, you want to be intimate.
That's supposed to
cool.
not be there.
Okay, no, it's cool. It's all right. No, so what you're experiencing is someone who has learned a lot, who didn't go to college, but they have a lot of information and they don't have no one to share.
I went for a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, you didn't.
Oh, you're right. You're right.
And that's what you're constantly hearing. Because I remember I used to share like a bunch of stuff with a lot of my family, a lot of my mom, and then they would give like, okay, and then even my siblings, okay, like, and then they start thinking, like, I don't care.
And I obsess over shit too.
And then you start like me, right?
Yeah.
One of my favorite shows ever was The Boondocks.
Right.
And like, we had just got a DVR. Anybody would come over, I would tell them, and I would show them The Boondocks or Chappelle Show, right? And then people start getting upset. It's like, God damn, dude, or I refer to everything from The Boondocks or Chappelle Show. And it was like, God damn, dude, was you on the show?
I geek out.
Did you help produce? And I'm geeked out. And then now it's like, well, I'm trying to what JD is trying to do. He's trying to bring you into his mob world and trying to share with him
true crime.
And then he wants you.
Yeah, he wants a friend in true crime.
He wants a friend in true crime.
No, I don't.
No, yeah,
necessarily.
you do.
JD,
Yeah, you do.
That's literally what it is.
Okay.
It's literally what it is. It's not it's not. Like,
you know what it is? Is that he's too happy.
No, fuck that. What is it? It's just it's in your subconscious that you're doing this, and it's something that you. This is how you like talk. It's like hey, you like Pokemon?
Right.
I like Pokemon. Let's talk about Pokemon. Oh, you don't know Pokemon?
I talk a lot about music.
It's your version of comic books because you do that with comic books. Like you know a reference that reminds you of a comic book thing.
Well, he knows everything.
Yeah, he does.
That's true.
He knows
that's true.
everything.
But like, and that's why we have long ass conversations because we talk history, and it's not always about the fucking mob.
Yeah.
It's not. It's relax. It's not always about crime. It's all kinds of shit. Not just that. I think that when we started hanging out, that's what it was a lot of, where it was like mob.
You're used to. Huh? You're used to having that kind of conversation, or
with someone who's smart enough to handle it. Yes, not fucking.
I mean, with me,
it's not even that. It's I geek out over shit. Like when I read that book about the fuck, what's his name? Seth Rollins, the dude who was in a punk band, and his stories about how rough it was. Like I geeked out for that, and like on that whole. For like a week, hearing like other musicians' road stories, like whoa, that's I geek out over shit, and I think sometimes I'm hella excited, but I'm finding outlets to geek out, like like I could do that with you. We go back and forth on shit like that a lot.
I mean, like,
but the problem is sometimes you push it onto people, and that's my problem.
You push it, because it's the thing you're passionate about. And then, like Marcos, you never share any. Marcos, you never share anything about music. It seemed like you a lot of times you're interested in what we're doing a lot of the time, and we hear about Tomorrow's June, but we don't know okay, like I'm trying to be like this pop band, or this pop band is really cool. We might dismiss it from the standpoint, but then also share what you like, share what your favorite thing is, or tell us why the Jonas Brothers is so like big to you. Like I don't like the Jonas Brothers mainly because when they came out, all these like young girls was like huge into them. I'm like, oh my god, I want to like be like that kind of thing. But then
I'm very well aware actually, because like I give him shit all the time, but I was the exact same way too.
Yeah.
Like I noticed myself bringing up music because like especially because
we don't share the same music likes a lot of the time.
Right.
Yeah.
But your guys' comedy journey and my music journey is very similar.
Yeah.
I see a lot of similarities of when I hang out with you guys, go to shows with you guys and stuff like that.
Preparedness before a show is something we do talk about. Like we do like, what's your mind going through? Like, shut up right now, I don't want to talk, you know, or this. And we talked about how he has a bone to pick that you never let him come with you to shows. We talk about that.
Yeah, I cried to him.
I can answer that right now. If you want
to. I answered that question for him.
No, answer. Go ahead, Corday. We didn't hear it from your, this is like Marty McFly singing Chuck Berry song all over again.
We
hear it from his song.
Anyway,
I just want to support Corday.
So a lot of times I don't, I don't bring people to shows with me or stuff like that, because sometimes like my mood might be thrown off, or I'm like nervous about a show, or I go to a lot of shows solo where I think and I visualize about what I want to talk about. And
it's fun going with you though. I like going to shows with you.
Yeah, and then
I would never know.
Yeah. Well, I mean, hey man, don't and
my
honestly,
favorite. My favorite.
Can I talk, JD? Okay, this is my problem. JD, you always interrupt people. All right. Like if we talk about you always sharing, like JD, you always like you never let me get a thought out. Also, so I'll give you, and this is why I hate. Huh?
You do rant ridiculously a lot.
I rant, but then I'm trying to like get to where I'm going with it. Like I'm trying to explain something to you, right?
I do that. I think I have something wrong with me, but yeah.
But and then so what is for me, right? Going back to I rant, or sometimes like I talk too fast, so I try to slow it down. It goes back to like when you was little, you can always say something like a real immediate, right?
Yeah,
so you try to say stuff and interrupt, but it's because if you don't say it now, you'll forget.
We have the same problem.
We have the same problem.
Big families.
Yeah, we're part of big families, and then so for me, I got rant, but it's like I always say I'm catching up on what I couldn't say back in the day. Yeah. Like I couldn't share my thoughts, so I'll rant and like I'm like, I can finally tell like when I'm finally like around people my own age where I can say something. But we're talking about shows. I'm like I'm getting ready for a show. I'm going to a show. I'm thinking about this, and then sometimes I never want to be holding to someone's time of like you want to get out of here. Like I might want to leave early. I might want to stay. But if somebody's like always with me, like you got to go, like you have to go or something like that. But then
that's the coolest thing about me though, is like. I'm there for you. So I'm there to help you.
Yeah.
I'm there to do whatever you need to do. If you just want to chill and not drive, I can drive.
Yeah.
If you need a DJ, I can DJ.
That's still a no, bro.
Yeah. So
I do the light.
So one thing about me, right? I like to drive every single time because like I'm just always used to driving. So like other people like I can drive. I'm like nah, dude. Like it comes from my dad. My dad used to drive. He would have somebody riding with him, but he would always drive himself. It's just something like you can kind of control, and then it's
sure.
Like it's something I'm always in my head about. Like you could say like I'm cool. Like you like you cool, but like, I'm cool. Like you cool. I'm like now we gotta go. I gotta get Marcos home or some shit like that. Or sometimes like I'll be honest. Sometimes I might be wanting to hang out, and then like a chick might hit me up or something. Just the opportunity like I can dip at any second because I'm about to go to.
You're not holding someone hostage,
or someone's not holding you back.
Yeah.
Okay.
Sure.
Well, I just remembered because I remembered a while back I was thinking of stories that I haven't shared.
Yeah.
That I want to share, and we just talked about that show we went to Sacramento together that one time.
Which one?
Anyways,
go ahead.
Elk Grove. The funniest shit I've ever had happen, like with someone. We were leaving the show at like 11 p.m. And it's me and Corday in the car, and we were like, bro, I need to lose weight. He's like, yeah, me too. I need to start walking more. We're going back and forth with that whole fat guy changing our life shit.
Yeah,
like I need to look better. I'm trying to look better at shows. Like, yeah, me too. I'm gonna start walking more. And we're driving, and I see a Wiener Schnitzel sign, and I said, "Ooh, Wiener Schnitzel." And he just turned. We didn't say, "Oh, should we go?" No, just "Ooh, Wiener Schnitzel." And I just felt.
And I'm gonna tell you why. Because there's only Wiener Schnitzels in Richmond and I don't know what the other one is.
Now.
El Cerrito.
El Cerrito's the only one.
El Cerrito. I mean, so El Cerrito. My bad. There's only one. Oh, so there wasn't one in Richmond over there by San Pablo.
Taco truck
but now it's a chocolate spot now, and then there's only one in El Cerrito / Richmond, like by my grandma's house. But that's like hella far. So then, literally, where it's Elk Grove, Sacramento, coming back from there, and then he was like, Wiener Schnitzel, because I grew up like always going to Wiener Schnitzel because my grandma always had coupons. So the fact that there's one way out here, and I was hella hungry at the time too. Like I'm usually always hungry when I get to a show or after a show, because like sometimes I don't eat on the way there, or by the time the show over, it's like 2.5, 3 hours after. So we saw Wiener Schnitzel. I was like, oh fuck, there's never any Wiener Schnitzel out here, because I was thinking in my head, fuck, we gotta go to Jack in the Box, and I was like, nope, Wiener Schnitzel is way better.
No, but it's funny you just said that right now, because we ate on the way there, and then we still ate on the way back.
But so Elk Grove is like what, like an hour and a half, 2 hours away?
Hour and a half.
Yeah, and then so then the show might start at 8. Yeah. And then the show was over like 9:30, 10. And then we still
got out of there at 11.
And then we got out there at 11. So I'm trying to eat before like on the way home. So then like my body can process the food of what I just ate instead of getting home. Because I'm still going, if I'm hungry, I'm going to eat when I get home, you know? Yeah. So then it can process on the way home. So.
And we saw a car accident.
And we saw a terrible car accident too. And then JD kept talking about it. And she was like, hey, can you shut up real quick? Can we talk about something else right now?
Making you nervous?
Like, you're making me nervous.
No. You know what it was too? It was, he said, who died? He said, let's do a prayer. And I was like, okay, but let's call 911 first.
Well, because I've never called 911
I feel
like after like.
You guys saw it happen?
We saw it, and actually, because I called from my phone.
Yeah. You guys did call.
CHP called me like 2 days after to ask what, because apparently I'm the only one who saw.
Yeah.
And,
shit.
Yeah, because that one.
Yeah.
Luckily we called.
Yeah.
Because it caused 2 other cars to hit that car. And it caused like 4 car pileup. Yeah.
Because what happened was, I remember I was like I'm like very aware when I'm driving and stuff like that. And it's also another reason I don't like to drive with people, because sometimes people aren't aware. So like JD's talking to me and shit like that, and like I'm like playing some music, but then like I'm like looking behind me, and then I just see like a car like kind of going like this right behind. And I was like, so I started to slow down. He's like, hey, why are you slowing down? And then the car comes up on our right, speeding hella much, and then there's like a van 2 lanes over, and the car's coming up trying to speed, and then all of a sudden, as it's coming up trying to like zip through some people, one of the vans gets into the lane, cuts them off, and so now that speeding car goes vroom, loses control, and then it's like the steering wheel seemed like it just made it go a sharp left. It hit a sharp left, because I think it was going like 85, 90 into like the side rail, and just started riding the side rail for like a good amount of time. And then I was like, oh fuck, and it was like fire and like with sparks and shit like that, and I was like, fuck, yo. And the funny thing about it, we had our Wiener Schnitzel on our lap, but I was like, yo, this is why. And I'm like, yo, this is why.
I didn't stop eating my fries the whole time.
Yeah, I was like, yo, this is why you got to be like aware of shit like this, you know, because like if you're not aware of somebody, we probably could have like hit that thing if I wasn't paying attention. Yeah, or it could have hit us, because I started slowing down because I was like, I saw lights going like this. I'm like,
we saw them go like
yeah. And so then I was like, fuck, yo, and then terrible accident.
I don't have you drive when you come with me. You drive when I'm drunk. Like in Salinas, I got drunk.
Yeah.
I got fucking.
The last few times you've been drunk.
Damn.
Yeah, and see, I'm not used to like, cause I'm always.
That's bullshit.
I'm always. Yeah, I mean, it happens, but like.
No. It's totally fine. I think like, because the one thing I've been trying to tell him too, and something he's like really bad at, is staying after shows. Yeah. And I'm like, dude, if you're gonna make fans, you have to
wait.
Wait. Stay after the show. Meet people at the door. Blah blah blah. Even if they didn't,
I stayed in someone.
A lot of them
bought me drinks.
Yeah, a lot of the recent ones, he's been staying, and I'm like, good. You know, don't like stay until you want to. It's good.
They'll
like,
remember you that way.
Yeah, I don't care how late we stay out. Just shit. I don't care how late we stay out. Just stay.
That's why I love
you have to make fans, and it worked out too when we went to the Fremont one. Remember, all of us, and we met someone who's a fan of
who listens to
the Voice Party, and she knew who we were.
Yeah.
And that was pretty cool, because like most of the time when you hear people say the Voice Party, even though we've been on it for a long time, they just think JD.
Yeah.
So that was kind of like a cool experience that we got
she talked to you two for like an hour.
She was asking us for advice on her own
podcast and kind of asking us like the ins and out of what we do here and stuff. I'm just like through a fog machine right now.
No. I'm saying because what you're talking about. A few people hit me up to the podcast recently. A chick added me after a show last night, and they saw that I did the Voice Party podcast. It's like I'm trying to get in podcasts. Like me and my homegirls trying to get podcasts. I'm like, yo, just DM me. I can give you some advice, stuff like that. So it's kind of it's a surreal thing. Like when people start doing that.
If you're watching this, Corday doesn't do shit here.
I mean, well,
I'm the talent bitch.
And even before we ran into people in the early days, JT, you would share with us. Listeners would say, "Hey, I really like what JD what you had to say last time," or "Wow, Gaspar was really insightful," or "Joaquin made a good point," stuff like that. And so it's people that pay attention. Like one of my coworkers. It's like one of my supervisors. We were like walking, and we ran into like a specific coworker, and they were like, "Oh yeah, hugs, right? I miss you." And then he turns to me and says, "I don't miss you though, because I watch you every week on the Voice Party." And then the next day he was like, "Hey Joaquin, where's my merch?" And I was like, "What size shirt you wear? I got you."
Yeah.
Like there is a cool.
That's why we all are gonna probably divide these up if that's cool.
3 stickers each, or 1 sticker each.
No. I mean, unless you want me to hold on to them for merch shit.
We'll sort it out. I mean, that's another thing we've been talking about, and I think making this like an official business too is like. All this as a Voice Party entity is kind of, it's getting to that point where we want to build onto this a lot, because I think the Voice Party has so much potential, not just as a podcast, but as a promotion, as a possible promotion company for, comedy shows. Yeah. I mean, that could be.
That's how Outside Lands people started.
Yeah. It can genuinely start into that where there's teams of different departments within this one entity.
Voice Party.
We the higher ups. We the higher ups.
Yeah,
the higher ups here. Yeah.
Depends how much stake JD wants to give us.
No. So real quick, I remember. So speaking of Outside Lands, JD, you went. Marcos, would you like to see yourself at some place like Outside Lands, like a festival or things like that?
Good question.
Yeah.
I was wondering if that's better.
So here's the thing. I don't know if a lot of people know this, but booking agents, we have gotten this a million times, but they won't look at you unless you have 10,000 followers on Instagram. 10,000. Here's the thing. It doesn't. There are people out there, there are bands out there that have 2,500 followers, less than us, that are signed to record labels that go on tour yearly and bring people to shows, like 200-300 cap rooms yearly and sell out all the time. And there's people with millions of followers that once they go on tour, they don't sell shit. Numbers don't necessarily translate, but it's hard. Because we've had connections to Outside Lands before. We have tried to get on it. It is 100% something I dream about doing. That festival run, Outside Lands, any of the
South by Southwest.
We've submitted this year. A lot, and a lot of people don't know too. It's money, man. You have to pay to submit to these things.
Yeah.
And it's not a cheap submission.
Yeah.
And then it's really rough sometimes to like be like, okay, we're just throwing money away. And I think that's why it deters a lot of musicians.
For your band?
It could to get us out there to like South by Southwest or something like that.
It's Outside Lands.
It would. Outside Lands is here, so it would be a couple $100 just in gas for the van.
No. To submit, like you got to pay for that, right?
No, that one you have to know people. But South by Southwest you can submit, and some other festivals you can. But it sucks when you do have talent. But we talked about this on the what's it called? We talked about this in the last episode. Is that it's I forgot where I was going with that. Never mind, I'll remember.
You submitted to festivals and stuff like that.
I was going to say, it's the same way with filmmaking. Like with when we did Unhealthy Comedian, like you got to pay money to submit it to all these festivals. And like, I didn't look at what Sundance charges to submit, but just like SF Indie wanted like $120 for me to submit.
That's what I'm saying. You get deterred.
So I had to be selective with and strategic with where I'm submitting, and what I'm submitting to.
What do you feel like?
My pockets are only so deep.
Yeah.
Right. Oh, and I guess that's where I was going. What we talked about in the last episode is like, there's talent everywhere. You know. You good? Yeah. Okay. Talent can only get you so far. There's talented people everywhere.
Yeah.
And that's what some shitty films get picked up by cans and shit because they paid a good amount.
I'm sure. Yeah.
I'm not saying the bands are shitty, but you know what I mean.
No. And look, just because you don't like an artist on Outside Lands doesn't mean they're shitty either.
No.
All these guys are talented. All these guys are good musicians.
And that's different too. I'm speaking.
Yeah, you're not getting on these stages if you're crap.
No.
You know what I mean?
I just don't. So as a comedian, I know we apply to festivals like San Francisco Comedy Competition just announced the lineup. I know people who was in it. I thought I applied, but I didn't get. I guess I didn't get in it. And I know about there's
shout out to Shanti Jose Contreras,
Ed Black, I believe, Alejandro.
Motherfucker.
What's his last name? Chua. I just know him as Dro Nose, so that's why like you be saying his full name. I'm like, dude, I just know him as Dro Nose. They all got into the competition. Chris Riggins won it last year, so it was super dope. And and he's in LA now doing his thing at the Comedy Store. So I'm just I see this festival because I don't go to music festivals. Like I just go to concerts individually, and people's like, you can save so much money going to like these festivals, and I'm just like, I don't.
It's too much for me.
Yeah,
the idea of it,
I don't like other people. I don't want I just want to go to the concert and dip.
Do you see the pictures I posted? How much people?
Dude, I looked at all that shit. I was like, in my head, I'm like COVID.
I'm like, I feel drained as far as like it was too much.
Yeah, it's too much.
Staying away from people. Luckily, we had a pass where we didn't have to go to the people's bathroom.
Yeah.
We went to like employee bathrooms.
Nice.
But it was just too much, man. It was like.
I was gonna say, I see the idea of going to festivals just as a patron.
Can I say something?
Oh, go ahead.
What I didn't like seeing a lot of like. It's different because usually the concerts I go to is like it's weed smoking.
Yeah.
But this was like pill popping.
Yeah.
It's a different thing. It's a different environment, man. And it's just it's not like rave per se, but like it is like a party central very environment, and it's hard, especially, and not to bring this in, but I have to. Being sober now, going to a lot of shows.
Yep.
It's changed my perspective on live music because I used to go there, I didn't care, like I would trash my voice every time singing out loud. I'd be drunk, high, do whatever, right?
It was part
of it was part of the thing, and I was like embracing that concert culture. Mm-hmm. And now that I'm sober and I go to concerts, it's like I'm enjoying the music. I'm enjoying and I'm appreciating everything for what it's worth. I'm still looking at concerts through a musician's lens for sure. But I'm appreciating a lot of things a lot more. I'm willing to spend a little extra bucks too to get a little closer now because I'm not a lawn guy anymore. I can't, especially when it comes to those amphitheaters. But
it sucks.
It does. My back hurts now.
My feet,
I'm getting old. I'm getting old, dude.
You're getting old.
28
dude.
now.
Like,
I can't
it hurt.
do lawn.
Like Indian style hurts.
It's not
like it hurts.
fun.
Like you give it.
And you can't see shit.
How old are you?
28.
Dude,
just turned 28.
It gets worse. Like it's all the funny shit that my dad and like our uncles or grandpa used to tell me. He's like, "Oh, enjoy it while you're young." And it's oh man, don't.
Yeah, like dude, we could sit. My whole thing was like, dude, I'm always gonna sit in the lawn because it's so much cheaper. No,
and then all of a sudden
I'm willing to spend extra $40 to get chairs.
I got because I go to a certain comedy club to see a bunch of comedians, and I saw Neil Brennan. Like where I was, the stage was, I'm here, Neil Brennan's like right there, and I was like, oh my god, this is like a way different experience. I was like, this is why you pay more. And I was like, oh my god. I was like, what happened if I was at like Oakland Arena and I saw Kevin Hart or Chase? I was like, this would be amazing. But the only person I'm actually probably like really willing to spend money like that is Adele. I haven't seen Adele or Kendrick Lamar. Okay. Two people I haven't seen.
Hey, I hate to go off topic, but I got a question for both of you.
Okay.
And it's kind of maybe you two, when you've done projects like after a show, you said you had a show last night.
Yep.
What time did you go to sleep?
3 a.m.
Perfect example of what I'm about to talk about. When you go home, how do you or after we film something, how long? It usually takes a while to rest after a show.
Yeah.
Even Friday, even though I didn't perform, but I was hanging out with what's his name,
Corday.
no, I don't want to name drop. I don't want to name drop, but yeah.
Oh yeah.
You kind of or yesterday even like it takes a while to like. Do you do anything to like fall asleep right away? Is there like
I do something
because I don't. I mean, not like we will.
I watch porn. Yeah, fapping at.
Oh yeah. But is there other things like
burn, bright, and collapse, huh?
Yeah, that's the nightly ritual.
But I mean, is there anything else?
One out first,
anything else, or any other thing aside from that?
Well, I'll say
weed or anything like that. I'm not saying
not because I don't smoke.
No, I'm saying you know what I'm saying though. That's like the usual.
Sure.
So I'll say what's harder from like you say once you get home and kind of do that stuff. I say what's harder because you say like Marcos is trying to tell you to hang out more. Like after a show, if I don't hang out, I still have like all this like pent up energy.
So you burn it out hanging out.
So I burn it out hanging out.
You get like a boost of,
and I'm still like on that high, so I'm still kind of like hang out, talk to people and things like that. Like if you was asking me like right after I left the show immediately go home and like what I do then, I was like I don't know, like maybe like I'm really trying to get into editing thanks to Marco showing me that, or like I'll watch whatever was talked about on football or some podcast and stuff like that. But the hang is usually like a way for me to like to calm down, get that adrenaline from off the stage and things like that. And by the time I go home, like because I'm not a night person, but I can stay up. I've been able to stay up of late, but I am not a night person. So like JD, you've been around me. You guys been seeing me like fall asleep like with you guys, like because like I can't stay up too late. Like I'll get exhausted.
I'm a night person.
Yeah, see, I'm a night person too.
Yeah.
But to an extent though. And I'll say this for me, like last night is a good example. I have, I'm like kind of tired of being at the venue per se. But once I get home, I'm like, I want to see every video that you guys took. I want to see every picture. Now, what can I clip? Like my mind goes, I'm getting videos ready for TikTok, and that's what I did until 3 a.m.
I do that for sure. Like let's see what
let's see what I did. I want to review my performance. I felt really good. Watch the video. Fuck, I didn't do as good as I thought maybe, or I missed that note. I thought I hit that. Here's where things went wrong. So I'm definitely analyzing my day. But it definitely has. I think you're right. There's so much adrenaline after a show, and especially when you do well. I think everyone can attest to this, us all being artists, is like last night there's nothing that strokes my ego more than when 90% of the venue comes up to you and has a 2-minute conversation and you have to be the one that says I gotta go because hella people are pulling you to give you compliments all night, and you're starting to get so uncomfortable because you're not used to that much compliments in a row. But it feeds my ego. Like I am a rock star right now. I look at you like I know you. And we work together, right? But when you're coming up to me, I'm like, thanks, man. Like I'm the big guy right now. And you can. It's hard to come down from that as soon as you get in the, And then the other cool thing too for me, right? After we left the venue, I put on All Star by Smash Mouth. Our van is rumbling. David, JD, and Nando had a few drinks. They're screaming the song. We're jamming just from Point Richmond back to my house. And it was the most chaotic ride I've ever had back home. But it was fun. And it was like, that was like one of those points where you were like, oh, this is what tour's gonna be like. You know what I mean? Like this is the dream. We get back in the van, we drive to the next place, we do it again tomorrow. And you just, it's hard to come down from a high like that. It's literally like cocaine.
That was like me and Johan after a show. Like I'm not saying I sound like an old fart saying like that used to be me, like when after a show, like because I hear that, and that's how Johan and like whoever else was with us on the show, we do driving after a show, like go get some pussy, like
right.
Going to the taco. Everyone would go to the taco truck with us after a show, and they would be cracking at the taco truck. Like
the girl asked for my number. She chased me down in my van.
There you go.
To get my number, and it was like that shit just feeds my ego.
And now like this was happened the other day after a show. It went great. I went home. I changed into my sweats. And I put on the new episode of Reservation Dogs. And that was like,
Yeah, no, it's a
that's where you're at kind of too now. I mean, you hang out for a little bit too, and actually we hung out that day. It was Thursday where we came over.
Yeah, it was. It's super dope. Like stroking your ego, chick asking for your number.
Yeah.
I'm at the place where sometimes like once you do the improv, we do the improv more. That will happen more often.
Yeah.
But then also sometimes you get I also get humbled too. Sometimes at the shows, like I'll do a show, like do a local show in Santa Rosa, this dope ass spot called Barrel Proof. Casey puts on some amazing shows. I've been headlining there for like a while now. Like I worked myself up from just doing the show to featuring. Like he really like, and now every time I go, like I can headline, right? And then you got your ego, you fucking chasing the high, you don't want to leave just yet because like Santa Rosa is like an hour. You're like, nah, man, I'm still cool. And then I go to another bar. Nobody even know who I am because they didn't come to the show, right? So it's like a humbling thing. So it's a way for me to still like, all right, I'm still chasing high, I'm not there yet. And I can still keep me grounded, right? But then also after I did the improv, right, I opened for Pablo Francisco, right? This chick was supposed to come to the show, she did, and she's like, I only come in if I want VIP tickets. Like only if I get VIP seats, I'll come. And I was like, and then her homeboy's like, why you want VIP tickets? It's like, because I want to say I got put in the VIP. And I was like, see, you the type of chicks I don't need to be around, right? Then, like how you said, we was at this bar, bunch of people coming up to me afterwards. They was like, hey dude, you was funny as shit, dude. Like the one joke. So like she over here watching me getting hella attention, getting hella jealous. I was like, when I'm loving the attention, it's stroking my ego so much. But also I'm just like, yo, you a terrible person. You upset that I'm getting all this like, you and your little groupies over here, like we're gonna go over here. And I was just in my head, I was just like, girl, you ain't even that fine for me to be like that kind of. But also, we not talking like that too. So like, I'm just, it's like crazy.
You brought up a good point. I'm gonna be at Barrel Proof Comedy September 12th.
Nice.
There you go.
Sorry,
Friday, September 12th.
No,
September 12th. It's the day before the improv shows.
There you go.
But yeah, I mean,
Tuesday? You want a Tuesday?
Fairfax. It's in Fairfax.
No.
It's
So
a
that's not Barrel Proof. That's Max in Fairfax. Max in Fairfax is put on
Barrel Proof.
Put on by Barrel Proof.
Oh.
They have an actual comedy club, Barrel Proof, that's in Santa Rosa.
Oh.
So you're doing
The Barrel Proof.
You're doing Max in Fairfax. That's put on by Barrel Proof.
Hosted by Tony Sparks.
That's a great fucking show too. Great fucking show. And they give you pizza and they feed you. So it's dope.
That's all you have to say.
all going back to the what's it called?
We started about racism.
Yeah. I was gonna say.
And then Phil was just like, I don't want to participate in this.
Corday goes, and that's why comedy's racist. That's been the Voice Party, and we're out.
We're out.
Burp, burp, burp.
Oh, I didn't mean to really end it like that.